Welcome. In today's video, we're going to be talking about how to lose 1 pound per week and most importantly, keep it off. So we're going to be going over a couple things in this video. In part one, we're going to be going over the science of losing 1 pound per week, so the results, and answering the question, what do I need to do? What do you need to do in order to do that? And then in part two, we're going to be going over the psychology of losing the weight and then keeping it off. So in terms of sustainability, right? And answering the question, how can I sustainably do it? So think of results and sustainability like a scale that you're constantly trying to balance, like this, right? So if you go all for results, sustainability falls and you fail. If you go all sustainability, well, that's probably what you're doing right now if you're not moving towards your goal, but you just don't call it that, right? So you need the perfect balance of results and sustainability that is specific to you for long-term sustainable weight loss. So this is what it looks like when results and sustainability are balanced. So let's start here. The science of losing 1 pound per week, the what or the results. So what does the body, or why does the body store fat? Our bodies store fat for a simple reason. We're eating more calories than we're using. So think of fat as a stored energy source. And 1 pound of fat is equivalent to about 3,500 calories. So that means if you want to lose 1 pound of fat per week, you need to be in a caloric deficit of 3,500 calories per week or 500 calories a day. Got it. But how do you know what a caloric deficit is for you? First, you have to find how many calories you burn on an average day. And so there's three factors that influence this. Your basal metabolic rate, MBR, activities of daily living, so ELs, and then specific exercise. Here's a hack for you to skip all the math and find this number for yourself right now. Go to this link, calculator.net /calorie-calculator.html, and I'll put a link in the comments. And you can just input your stats. So put in your age, your gender, height, weight, and then activity, and bing. It is going to pop out exactly how many calories you need to be eating. The thing is, take these calculations with a grain of salt. The best way to see what a true deficit is for you is to be testing it, right? These numbers are just kind of generic. Everyone's body is a little bit different. So you could either need more calories, less calories, but it's a good baseline to start. So results truth bomb number one, right? There's no magic eating pattern for weight loss. That means that traditional 3 meals and 2 snacks, intermittent fasting, OMAD or 1 meal a day, and extended fasting for 48 hours or more all work for weight loss. The difference between them is how sustainable they are. But for results, there's little to no difference. So pick one, test and iterate depending on how sustainable it is for you. And we'll go a little bit further into this in the next section. What really matters is that you need a caloric deficit. The greater the deficit, the faster the results. Not as sustainable though. Theoretically, you could eat your maintenance calories for 6 days, and then on the 7th, don't eat at all, and you'll lose weight. If there's a deficit, you will lose weight. That's how it works. You could eat all your meals and snacks in one sitting, like the OMAD diet, 1 meal a day, or you could spread out your meals to 12 meals a day. Mealtime does not affect fat loss in any meaningful way, but it will affect how you feel, and that means how sustainable it is. Results truth number 2. There's no such thing as weight loss foods. There are foods that make weight loss more sustainable, like high volume, low calorie foods, so that you're less hungry. Think of vegetables and fruits. But they do not help you lose more weight faster. So you could eat only carbs and eat them all after 8 p.m. As long as you're in a caloric deficit, you're still going to lose weight. That means you could eat all the Twinkies, and you could eat only Twinkies, and as long as you're in a caloric deficit, you're still going to lose weight. It would just be extremely hard to sustain, but we'll talk about this in just a second. You'd also lose muscle, so I definitely don't recommend only eating Twinkies, although it can be tempting. You do want a proper macronutrient distribution, so you don't lose muscle as you lose weight, which means that you have to eat protein, which is why only eating Twinkies would not be a good idea. You want to keep the muscle that you have because it will increase your BMR and allow you to burn more calories throughout movement. Think about your body as an engine. You want more muscle, and you want to have a powerful engine in order to burn fuel faster. But don't worry, you're not going to get bulky. You're just going to get toned, right? So take your goal weight, multiply by 0.75. That's the grams of protein that you need every single day. And then fill the rest of the calories in with carbs or fat. So I would recommend more carbs and fat to stay fuller longer because fats are more calorically dense, meaning the amount of food, the amount of food is less in terms of fats for the same amount of calories as carbs, where you can eat more, so you'll stay fuller. If your goal weight is 150 pounds, you want to be roughly eating 120 grams of protein per day. And it doesn't have to be exact, 10%. Either way is perfectly fine. If you were, like a bodybuilder and competing or something like that, then, we would want to be exact. But just in terms of weight loss, it's 10% either way. You're going to be perfectly fine, right? Results truth number 3. So if you're losing more than 1 pound per week and have a caloric deficit of roughly 500 a day or 3,500 per week, you are losing lean body mass, right? Lean body mass is water, muscle, and bone. All the stuff you want in spades. So muscle equals a more toned physique and a faster metabolism, both resting and while exercising. Water is, good for energy, mental clarity, increased performance, and better ability to problem solve. And then bone density is the weight that you want. It's more resistant to breaks as you age. So don't get too excited if you're losing more than up on a week on average. Get concerned and adjust it as needed. Plus, the greater the deficit, the greater chance of you losing muscle as you lose fat, which is not good. That's not what we want. This can be reduced by resistance training, but never totally. So plus by focusing on losing only fat and having less of a deficit, you'll be able to make it much more sustainable. You're going to be less hungry and eliminate the need for exercise in order to burn extra calories. So change the way you're measuring progress from weight loss to how your clothes fit and the actions that you're taking. A quick pause for questions on the science of weight loss. So drop them in the comments if you're watching the recording. I'll answer them in the comment section below. Now, with that being said, there's a lot to be considered in sustainability, and we won't be able to cover it all. But we will cover some main ways to approach sustainability and actions you can start with, right? So followed by actionable ways to make your plan more sustainable. If this type of content is helpful, leave a like, leave a comment below, and I'll make more like this, right? So part 2, the psychology of losing 1 pound per week, the sustainability part of it. Now this is what actually matters. You see, what you don't need to be told to eat less calories to lose weight. We already know that. We just can't stick to it. That's the hardest part, right? Results-driven plans are all over the internet, and these are the top 4 results for woman weight loss plan. And these plans are probably solid, and they can get you results. If all we needed was a results-driven plan, everyone on the internet would have a 6-pack already. But obviously, that's not the case. So what we need to do is focus on the how this is actually sustainable for the long term. We need a results and a sustainable driven plan. This type of plan is harder to cookie cutter create because what's sustainable for you is often different than what's sustainable for Sharon or someone else, right? So instead of trying to give you a cookie cutter plan that doesn't really work well for you, I want to share my top methodologies that have helped me transform thousands of people's bodies over the past decade. So sustainability secret number 1, we want to minimize pain and maximize pleasure. We're all human beings. Human beings will always be more towards pleasure and away from pain. And the majority of people start to lose weight and think, okay, how do I get results? Got it. Let's go do that. Not even considering the emotional component that is a part of all of us as humans. If your plan to lose weight ever gets to the point that it's more pain than pleasure, you're going to stop. And then you're just back at square one again, right? So plus, people usually wait for the perfect time to start a plan, which is not a good idea. They create a plan under perfect conditions, but guess what? If you're not stressed now, stress is coming. And if your plan doesn't have a buffer between pain and pleasure, you'll stop. So when you're creating your plan, start with the actions that are the lowest pain, highest result, pleasure. Bonus for pain and pleasure. Everyone has a base of stress, pain in their life, right? Before you look to add more stress with exercise, meal prep, and more, if you identify your stress as over a 7 out of 10, focus on reducing stress first before adding more stress to your plate with more exercise, rules, meal prepping, that type of stuff, right? Sustainability secret number 2, reduce negative feedback loops and create positive feedback loops. An example of a negative feedback loop: weighing yourself daily or weekly. You're doing everything right, you weigh yourself, but you haven't lost weight, and bam, you get punished to feel the pain. Instead, don't weigh yourself. Positive feedback loop: judge your progress on other factors that you'll be rewarded for, like your actions, following the meal plan, getting your daily movement in, and how your clothes fit. If you judge yourself based on your actions and not your daily/weekly results, don't you think you'd be more motivated to keep going? Probably, yes, because you're being rewarded, not punished, right? So some quick examples of how we create positive feedback loops with our clients. Give them daily praise based on their actions, not their results. We help them reframe their thinking so they can be encouraged instead of discouraged with a result. We praise them within our groups, raising their status within the FIT tribe, and we help them adopt similar frames so that they can have positive feedback loops without us over time. And so, sustainable secret number 3, play an infinite game, not a finite one. So a finite game, the purpose is winning. It's externally defined. Winner wins title, strategize to win, time is spent. An infinite game, purpose is to continue playing. It's internally defined. You continuously play, strategize to continue play, and time is created. The people I've helped break through to sustainable weight loss not only do so when they play a different game. Instead of trying to lose 40 pounds as a game, they're trying to sustain 40 pounds lost as a game. And so you might say, well, that's the same thing, but it's not. If the way you win the game is to lose 40 pounds, you'll play more aggressively, sacrifice, and probably rely on willpower to get there, only to be left on the top of the mountain feeling excited at first, followed by burnout, deviation from perfection, and then spiraling out of control, assuming you don't die on the climb, aka quit. If your goal is to sustain 40 pounds lost, even though you haven't lost it yet, you will only do things that are sustainable. You will think in years instead of weeks or months. Like Patty, she gets to eat foods like this. So we got a burger, some nice fries, it looks like from Five Guys, some chicken and naan bread, and some ice cream, banana, chocolate ice cream, and a banana. So that's how she gets to eat. But yet she's still been losing weight consistently. And the best part is she's not stopping anytime soon because her pleasure is high and her pain is low. I hope that makes sense. Is that making sense? If it does, give me an amen in the comments below. All right, hallelujah. So with this approach, you'll be less aggressive. You'll think about creating habits and small steps because this will have to be forever. No sane person is going to crank pain up to 7, 8, 9, 10 if they knew they'd be doing it for the long term, unless you're into that sort of thing. Just kidding. Jokes aside, you will lose the weight anyway because the actions to sustain the weight loss are the same to sustain it. So it doesn't make sense to lose the weight with the same approach as to sustain it. Because the other way, as you probably know, doesn't work when you account for years. Now you may be thinking, I'm ready, this is making sense, I just don't know how to get going again. So you need to break the inertia. And you've probably heard of it before. An object at rest stays at rest, and an object in motion stays in motion. It's challenging to break inertia on your own. So use as many tools as you can to help you break through. Number 1, podcast. Change your input and thinking, which will in turn change your actions and results, which is the exact reason why I'm making this. Get a friend group or get a friend or a group of like-minded people that are pursuing the same goal and mission as you. And number 3, get crystal clear on your goals and the path that you need to follow in order to get there. Your mind is like a heat-seeking missile. The more you can tell it exactly where to go, the easier it's going to be to get there. And then a little bonus is to get a coach. You don't have to do it alone. And if you're certain that this was the last time you want to start, I'm sure you'd be more willing to invest in yourself to make this the last time that you had to. A coach is not required to make this change happen forever, but it does make it easier, faster, and allow you to have less ups and downs. And if you get the right one, they can guarantee your lifetime results, like us. Now you may be thinking, that's all great, but how can I make my nutrition more sustainable? So here are three actionable strategies that you can do to make nutrition more sustainable from day one. Include your favorite foods. Increase, don't decrease, no deprivation. You can eat your favorite foods while still adhering to the science of weight loss. You just have to balance it properly. If you don't like math or want a simple way, 2 out of 20 meals per week, eat whatever you want. Just don't eat like a competitive bodybuilder twice a week where you eat, all of your daily calories in one sitting, right? Just be smart about it, but eat your favorite foods. But eat foods that are less than optimal, and you can still be eating optimal foods 90% of the time, the other 18 out of 20 meals. So plus, by focusing on increasing, not decreasing, you won't have the inner rebel fighting for you to cheat. You'll be able to move towards peace of mind around food for maybe the first time in your entire life. Number 2, choose an eating style that fits your lifestyle. All these work as long as you adhere to the science of weight loss. So the traditional 3 meals, 2 snacks, intermittent fasting, the OMAD 1 meal a day, or extended fasting for 48 hours plus. Set yourself up for the eating style that will be the easiest for you and give yourself permission to adapt based on life. Throw that perfection mentality out the window. It does not serve you. It only limits you. I tell my clients all the time, the teachers who get / maintain their goals for years are the ones who try and fail over and over again. And the ones who try and fail over and over again both fall off the wagon equally. Just the teachers that win call it adapting and don't tie emotion to it and hop right back on the wagon. And the ones that don't feel bad about it start a guilt cycle. The great news is there's nothing special between the people that do and the people that don't. They just adopted new beliefs around food and weight loss. So number 3, protein first. If you really want a simple way to approach nutrition, simply focus on getting your protein first. Protein keeps you fuller longer and will help you with not losing muscle while you're in a caloric deficit. Pair that with drinking half of your body weight in water per day in ounces. You will naturally cut anywhere between 15 to 30% of the calories that you're eating currently. And so some closing notes for you. You can absolutely do this. Carla was not special. She embodied these principles and has lost 120 pounds and sustained this weight loss for over 6 years now. Not all of these women were special either. Heather lost 86 pounds, Charlotte, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on. So if this type of content is helpful, like this video, leave a comment below so I can make more of it. You don't need to coach. Use everything in this group and you will eventually get there. Eventually, right? If you do want to move faster, have less up and downs, and want lifetime sustainable guarantees of your success, then you can shoot me a DM through school, just saying interested, and we'll help see if we can help you out with one-on-one coaching. All right, so the best is yet to come. I believe in you. You can do it, and I will see you inside the group, and keep crushing it. All right, bye.